graphical method, through the semi-average method, moving average method, and ordinary least square method, that is OLS. So one of the, when we observe important task before economic or any businessman, when we are trying to predict or estimate the forecast for the future. For example, in agriculture, we need to forecast, yield from the fields based on previous years of experience, that take an appropriate measures to meet the demand for the agriculture produce. Right? So similarly, when we are talking about the economists, they try to predict the future economy to adjust the imbalances, if any, in the economy. And the businessman, they estimate his sales in the future to change the production according to the demand in the present scenario. So in this regard, when he tried to forecast or predict or estimate the future, what are the necessary, he tried to gather the fast information. Based on that, he tried to produce. So usually it deals with the statistical data, and which are collected and observed and recorded during a time period, or we can say time intervals. So what is the meaning of time series analysis? Generally, we observe numerical data at different points of time, a set of observations. It is nothing but duration of period, observations means. It is known as time series. For example, if we observe production, sales, population, import, exports, FDI inflow, GDP or inflation, unemployment rate, right? Which all are, different points of time, say, over a period of like 2002, 2020 or 24. Right? So the observations we can, calculate based on that. So the time series analysis, most important factor that because the variable is related to the time series, which may be either year, time, week, or a day. Time series data over a period of time, we can collect this time series data either daily, we can observe, stock market data. Weekly, we can observe, inflation, or monthly, quarterly, half yearly, and annual data. Right? So this type of data we collect over a period of time, and we say that it is related to time series data. So a time series data, a set of statistical observations arranged in chronological order. We call it as time series data.
Good afternoon.
Time series data, yes.
Sir, which chapter?
Last chapter, time series analysis.
Regional imbalance and migration.
Regional imbalances. No, time series.
Time series.
Statistics paper, quantitative methods.
Oh, sir, Indian economy.
Not Indian economy.
Okay.
This is, elective paper.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
That
sir.
Indian economy already completed last week. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Now it is elective papers. One is elective A and B are there. One is financial. The another one is quantitative methods.
Yes, sir.
So we are discussing quantitative methods.
Okay, okay, sir.
Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Clear.
Fine, fine.
Financial institution markets have been completed, sir.
No, that class is taken by another faculty.
Okay.
Wherever
Okay.
this class.
Thank-
ఆ లింక్ వేరేమ్మా.
Yes, sir.
ఇదేమో క్వాంటిటేటివ్ మెథడ్స్ కి సంబంధించినటువంటి లింక్.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
అది వేరే లింక్ ఉంటుంది చూడు ఒకసారి క్లారిటీ.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Thank you.
So here the time series data we are talking about time series data. It is a set of statistical observations. What does it mean? These observations, a set of statistical observations. When we find variables, that variables data we collect as observations. For example, 2000 to 2018, this period number of observations, how many are there? 2000 to 2010. Okay, so this here it is a set of observations, statistical observations arranged in a chronological order according to Morris number. Okay, according to Morris number. We also say that a time series data, it consisting the statistical data which are collected, which are recorded, which are observed over a successive increments. So time series data, a set of observations we need to collect, we need to record, observe in a successive increments. That also we call it as time series data. As you know, another definition by Yalun Chow, a time series data may be defined as a collection of magnitude which is belonging to different time periods. The time series data is collection of magnitude belonging to different time period. Some of variable are composite of variable such as production of steel, per capita of income, gross national product, prices of tobacco, or industrial production. Okay, which all are, if we collect over a period of time, the observations we collect, that is related to time series data. Okay, so what series data? What are the uses of time series data? Here, the time series analysis, it is based on the past, that will extremely helpful for the predicting the future behavior. Okay, past information, based on the past information. What does it mean? Based on the past data of these observations, Okay, it may be per capita income, gross national product, tobacco prices, production, or unemployment rate. Okay, all the variables, information, past information. Okay, we collect the time series data of past data. Okay, based on this data, we can predict the future behavior. What will happen whether no prices increases today? What will happen tomorrow? Or if population increases year by year, what will happen? No, after 10 years or 5 years or next year. We can predict whether it positive impact, whether it is negative impact, we can come to know. So automatically developing countries like India is having more population. If population increases, it adversely affect the economy, as we know that. If we collect the population data, if we collect the GDP, when we particularly time series data, when we estimate this data, then we come to know that there is a negative relationship between these two. What does it mean? If population increases, it is negatively impacting on the growth. So policymakers or government, they try to decrease or reduce the population so that somewhere we can control it. That leads to positive impact on growth. So this type of data we can analyze with the help of time series data. We can predict what will happen in the future. It also helps for the planning future operations by forecasting, events and relationship they will have. It try to help for the planning of the future. Okay, so based on the data or information, they try to forecast the events. What is the relationship between these two? They come to know with the help of with the uses of time series analysis. More advantage. And also the analysis of time series that helps in involving or evaluating the current accomplishment. So the actual performance that can be compared with the expected performance and causes of variation analyzed. So here it try to explain the performance. It can be compared with expected performance and causes of various analysis. So we try to find out what are the reasons for the for variation or for that performance when we estimate the results based on the results, right? So that also we try to compare with expected performance. That time series analysis will help. The time series analysis of it helps for facilitating the comparison of different time series data. A set of draws the important conclusions from the analysis. So these are the uses of time series analysis. What are the components of time series? This is important. What are the components of time series? Say, there are again the analysis of time series data over a period of time. That changes may take place, maybe fluctuations. It may be trend pattern, movements, as they called as components are elements of time series. Okay, the changes taken place in trends or in patterns, movements, we call it as components of or elements of time series data. Here, the components, there are 4 components are there. One is secular trend, seasonal variations, cyclical variations, and irregular variations. There are 4. Okay. So, secular trend, seasonal variations, cyclical variations, and irregular variations. Okay. When we talk about the secular trend, the term which is used in day-to-day life in many contexts, we can use this secular trend. So here we are talking about the secular trend. We are generally we are using this secular trend in day-to-day life. For example, trend in land prices we observe. Suddenly prices increases in real estate, right? Population is increasing, population trend is increasing, inflation is increasing, income, consumption pattern, employment, etc. These all are, we can observe in trends. So the secular trend, what does it mean? There may be, large term study of movements in any activity, okay, in the economy. But, sometimes not short term, the same activities. The trend should be in the long period of time, not short period. Okay. So these movements sometimes, fast forward or upward, sometimes downward, depends upon the factors that are responsible in the that particularly in that movements, right? So that factors maybe include due to the changes over a period of time. It may be influence on population, technological progress, okay, natural resources, mass production methods, innovations, business organizations, governmental interventions in the economy. So these factors may cause for the upward or downward, depends on these factors. So when we talk about this, there are again various type of trends that may be divided under 2 heads: linear or straight line trend. The another one is non-linear trend, linear and non-linear trend, right? For a proper understanding of meaning of trend, one must know 2 points. The first point, the meaning of long period. Meaning of long period. So, what period we consider as a long period, that we have to know first. Whether it is 2 years, whether it is 5 years or 10 years. So here, that depends upon the data which is related to either the sales of product or what we can say agriculture data or industrial. If the sales of the production increased in a 1 year and a decline in the another year, which is not a trend, because it is short period. It is not a trend, right? So in the case of bacteria culture, it is maximum life period is 10 minutes. If it is survives for 7 to 8 minutes, that period is long. So it depends on the data which is related to the nature of the activity. Nature of the activity. So the another point is that for concluding whether the data which is upward trend or tendency or downward tendency, it is not necessary that the rise or fall that must continue in the same direction of the through the period. Through the period. If the data shows a continuous rise or fall at the same rate through the period, such trend is called as linear or straight line trend. Linear or straight line trend. If the data shows rise and fall of trend in 2 or 3 cycles, we call it as non-linear trend. Okay, non-linear trend. If the data shows continuously rising or falling, increasing or decreasing the same rate through the period, such as linear trend. Linear trend. If the data shows rise and fall, that type of trend, then we call it as non-linear trend. Non-linear trend. No, we observe sometimes stock market data. Suddenly it increase and suddenly the stock market collapse. Fluctuations will be more, right? Up and down fluctuations. So that is non-linear trend. Consumption and income. When we take an example, income increases, consumption also increase. That trend is, we can say that, linear trend, because both are increasing. Because if the income increases, consumption also increase, but less than proportion, that is different, but it is increasing. If income decreases, consumption also decrease, right? Consumption also decrease. These two are decreasing rate. These two curves are downward. That also, either upward trend or downward trend, we call it as linear trend. Opposite for that, non-linear trend. Non-linear trend, right? So that is clear. So if the data shows, as I said, it is related to linear trend, upward or downward. If the data shows, up and down fluctuations, that is related to non-linear trend. That is clear. The second one is the seasonal variation. Second one is the seasonal variations. Okay, seasonal variations. What does it mean? According to the, periodic movements, various seasons, that are comes regularly, regular movements or periodic movements in business activity in a year, we call it as seasonal variations. Seasonal variations. So these movements, okay, these movements generally from the nature of the year itself, from the nature of the year. Usually, every year, one could see the seasonal changes as, summer, after that, rainy season, after that, winter, then again, summer. So as per the seasonal demand, certain goods and services changes according to the demand. In summer, most of them prefer cool drinks and ice creams a lot. But in the winter, sweaters people used to purchase. So the demand automatically changes based on the seasonal variations, right? So, as I said, during the summer, there is a huge demand for the cool drinks, like ice cream and all. Rainy season, there is a huge demand for the rainy coat, umbrellas, right? And winter, when we talking about, there is a lot of demand for the hot drinks. We need to take, right? And woolen cloths also, sweaters, there is a huge demand for this. Like these, for many business activities, variations occurs regularly, and so the seasonal changes that may now include any kind of variation in a periodic nature. Okay, so seasonal variations are evident when the data which is recorded at weekly or monthly, quarterly intervals. The factors that may cause seasonal variations, that may cause seasonal variations. The other one is we can observe, climate and winter conditions. Climate changes. The changes in the climate and weather conditions, such as rainy season or humidity, heat, that will affect the demand for the products of various industries. Demand for the products based on the seasons, weather conditions, climate changes, right? So it will affect the demand for products and industries. That is climate and weather conditions. The another one, customs, traditions and habits. Customs, traditions and habits. Now, apart from these seasonal variations, customs, traditions and habits also have their, impact on variations time series data. Customs and traditions also, influence. For example, in the occasions like, Dasara or Deepavali, Christmas, Ramjan, or New Year celebrations, there is a great demand for the, sweets and gifts. Depends on the, festivals and all. There, because of customs and traditional habits, right? So the seasonal variations based on the customs and traditional habits it impact on the time series data. Okay. And also, when we are talking about this, the current knowledge no, it is based on the seasonal behavior, out of seasonal movements through the business policy. This may be, done by the modifying products that are having different seasonal peaks, accumulating stock in slack seasons, in order to manufacture at more regular rate. Cutting prices in slack seasons and advertising the off-seasonal use of the, particularly for the products. Right? So it is based on the customs of traditional habits. Cyclical variations. The term cyclical, which refers to the, the variations in the time series that are usually last longer than a year, or which are, a regular or neither in a amplitude or, based on that. So cyclical variations. The cyclical fluctuations in economics usually we observe in business also, that are, long-term movements that represents consistently, that recurring the rises or declining economic activities due to cyclical fluctuations. Economic activities may be, fluctuate up and down, right? So due to the long-term movements in the cyclical variations, there are, 4 well-defined periods or phases in business cycle. There are 4 phases in business cycle. As we know, the prosperity, depression, recovery, right? So each phase that changes gradually into the phase which, follow in order to, prosperity, recession, depression, and recovery. This may be changes. So when we talk about prosperity, when we are talking about the prosperity, as we know that the business cycle in the public, the business is like boom stage in the prosperity. The prices are, high, and profits also easily they can earn, because when the prosperity is there, okay, optimistic, public is optimistic, the business is booms, prices are high, profits are easily they can, gain, right? So there is a considerable expansion of business activity which leads to overdevelopment. It is then difficulty to secure deliveries, and there is a shortage of transportation facilities, which is having tendency to cause large interviews, so that accumulates the during the time of high prices. Inventories will be there, right? So automatically, when this period prices are high, wage rates are increased, labor efficiency decrease, The strong demand for, money that can be, cause the interest rates that try to rise at a level of bankers mind the advisability of granting the funds further. So this situation causes businessmen to make price concessions in order to secure the necessary cash, right? So then the follows the expectation of further reduction and a situation that becomes worse instead of better. Buyers wait for lower prices. Now, all this leads to decline in business activity. All this leads to decline in business activity. So then the follow the period of pessimism in the trade and industry. Factors try to close. The business again fails. There is a widespread of unemployment. Unemployment will increase due to pessimism in the trade and all industries and all. So these conditions characterized by a period of depression. We call it as depression due to pessimism. So after the period of rigid economy, a liquidation of recognition, money accumulates and seeks a period of improvement, recovery in the life. The improvement period generally develop into the prosperity period, and the business cycle is completed. Business cycle is completed. So these movements are constantly repeated in the order which is given the as cyclical. Okay, so this comes under cyclical variations. This comes under the cyclical variations. The another one we call it as irregular variations. Irregular variations. So irregular variations generally we call it as erratic or accidental random errors, and such variations in business activity which are do not repeat in a definite pattern. Irregular variations include all types of variations other than those accounting for the trend. Seasonal and cyclical variations other than the trend, seasonal and cyclical movements, as we know. So the word itself, it is showing irregular variations, not regular variations. No, accidental, we cannot expect random, right? Earthquakes, we cannot expect. Suddenly, no stock market falls, we cannot expect, right? So irregular variations that are caused by isolated special occurrences, as I said, floods, earthquakes, sometimes strikes, wars also. These are, we cannot expect, these are irregular variations. We can also observe the word itself, irregular variations, sudden changes. Suddenly changes in the demand, or suddenly changes in the rapid technological progress, that may be included in the category, in this category. So there are two reasons for recognizing irregular movements. They are, when we observe, to suggest that occasions it may be possible to explain the movements in the data due to specific cause, due to simply further analysis. Here, to emphasize the fact that predictions of economic conditions that are always subject to error, or that leads to unpredictable erratic influence which may be entered. So the predictions on economic conditions are always subject to error only, because which is unpredictable erratic. So the word itself, it is clearly showing erratic, irregular variations. So these are the two reasons for irregular movements. The another one is measurement of trend. Measurement of trend. There are various methods are there for measuring the trend. So the measurement of trend. Here, the trend measurement in long period of time, or long-term series. After the measurement of trend, we can only whether it is upward, whether it is decline, we can come to know. Growing or declining due to the trend over a period of time, we are analyzing. So based on the trend, we can come to know that whether it is upward or whether it is downward. There are two important reasons for trend measurement. First, it is to find out the trend characteristic. Okay, it is to find out the trend characteristics and in themselves. In studying the trend, we ascertain the growth factor, whether if it is increasing trend, where we can observe there is a growth trend. We can, for example, we can compare the growth in software industry with the growth of the economy as a whole. When we consider the growth factor also help us in the prediction of the future behavior of the data. Future behavior of the data we can compute. So here, the second one, enable to us to eliminate the trend in order to study the other elements. The elimination of trend that leaves us with seasonal, cyclical and irregular factors. The elimination of the trend that try to leave us the seasonal, cyclical and irregular factors. We are eliminating. We are identifying what are the reasons. We can then two or more series, we can compare the use or the impact of these three relatively short-term elements which are discovered from the long-term factors. There are various factors are there. There are various factors are there. Or we can say that methods. Various methods are there for based on that we can determine the trend. We can determine the trend. So what are the methods? Okay, what are these methods? So here, freehand method is there. It is nothing but graphical method or graphic method. The another one is semi-average method, moving average method, and method of least square. It is nothing but ordinary least square regression analysis. Okay. So when we talk about the freehand or graphic method, freehand or graphic method. Okay. So this is the simplest method of studying the trend, the process of obtaining a straight line, the trend by plotting the time series data on a graph. Graphical method we are telling. So it is the simplest method, easy to draw the graph based on the data. The process we obtain all the information and we can draw a straight line. That trend we call it as graphical method. We plot the time series data on graph. We examine carefully the direction of that particular trend or graph. Okay, plotted in the information, we can easily draw the straight line which will best fit to the data according to the personal judgment. That line now shows a direction of the trend. It shows the direction of the trend. Okay. So the another, when the trend line is fitted by a freehand method or graphical method, it attempt to it shows to make and it confirms such possibilities based on the certain conditions. Based on certain conditions. What are they? So it should be smooth, either a straight line or combined long gradual curves. The sum of the vertical deviations from the trend of annual observations, the above trend should be equal the sum of the vertical deviations from the trend of the observations below the trend. Okay, so sum of squares of vertical deviations of the observations from that trend should be small as possible. They try to small as possible. Okay, so the trend should be the cycle that can be area above the trend line or that equal to the below the line trend. Not only the entire series when we observe this, as possible as for the full of cycle. There are certain methods or merits are there based on this graphical method. There are advantages are there. What are the advantages? It is simplest method. It is easy to draw the trend. It is easy to measure the trend. Based on the data, we are identifying the plots. We are drawing the line, straight line. We come to know it is the easiest method to measure the trend. The another one, this method may be very flexible, that can be used in regardless of whether the trend is straight line or curve line. Trend is straight line or curve line. So here the trend line, when we draw by statistician that experienced by computing the trend, having knowledge of economic history, or the industry under the analysis of a better expression of a secular movement of the trend, which is rigid mathematical formula when we use providing a good fit providing the information that may have no other logical justification, no other logical justification. So the limitations, this graphical method is also having certain limitations, certain limitations. So what are the limitations? This method is, highly subjective because the trend line depends upon the personal judgment of the investigator, personal judgment of the investigator. Since freehand curve fitting in the subjective, that it cannot be, have much value as it is used for the basic for the prediction. This is also, even it is free, it is a subjective, it cannot be much value for the prediction. That is also one of the limitations. The another one, this method appears simple and direct. However, it is time consuming to conduct a freehand trend. It is a careful and conscious job is done. Conscious job is done. The method of averages. Method of averages. In this method, again, we need to know a given data. We need to divide into two parts, particularly the same number of years. Particularly the same number of years. So after the data, which is divided into two parts, an average, it is nothing but arithmetic mean of each period we can obtain. Then we get 2 points. Each point of that plot at the midpoint of the class interval convert by the respective parts that leads to 2 points or joint points by the straight line, which gives a required trend line, So today I'll stop here. I'll continue the next class.